But instead of investing that money into the needs of Haitians, like schools, running water, transportation, and electricity, they were sending it to former slave owners, banks, and shareholders in France and the US. Some argue that there was so much instability and corruption within the Haitian government that there's no guarantee that money would have been spent on the needs of the people if it stayed in Haiti. But the point is, Haitians were never even given the chance because the money didn't stay in Haiti. And it is true that some of these predatory deals were possible with the help of some local Haitian officials. But here's the thing, even when elected politicians were opposed, those foreign countries like the US found ways to force them. Like when the United States wanted to change the Haitian constitution because it didn't allow foreigners to own land. See, after so many years of French colonialism, this was an important protection for the Haitian people. They didn't want outsiders amassing so much wealth and power that they could control and oppress the local population. So a lot of Haitian lawmakers were opposed to changing it. Well, US Marines went into Haiti's National Assembly and forced Haitian lawmakers out at gunpoint. And then they replaced the legislature with officials that quickly approved the new US-backed constitution. President Franklin D. Roosevelt even bragged about writing it himself. He said, "The facts are that I wrote Haiti's constitution myself, and if I do say it, I think it's a pretty good constitution." And it was definitely pretty good for US business interests, because now that foreigners could own land in Haiti, US businesses leased thousands of acres for plantations. And then they used Haitians as cheap labor, paying them as little as 20 cents a day. So more than 100 years after slavery had been abolished, foreign plantation owners were finding new ways to exploit Haitians and enrich themselves. All along, the US defended their occupation of Haiti by saying it was necessary to bring stability to the country.
Contingents of United States Marines keep order in Haiti, withdrawing only when Haiti finally becomes a nation of peace and prosperity.
But there was one US Marine who later regretted what he did in Haiti and other countries. It was a Marine general that led the operation to force Haitian lawmakers out of the assembly. His name was Smedley Butler, and he said this about his time in the military: "I was a racketeer, a gangster for capitalism. I helped make Haiti and Cuba a decent place for the National City Bank boys to collect revenues." Butler gave that speech in 1932. And here's where you say, well, that was a long time ago. What does that have to do with what's happening today in Haiti? Well, that practice of meddling in Haiti's politics to serve Western interests has not stopped. After the US occupation came almost 30 years of a bloody dictatorship. The Duvaliers, first Papa Doc and then his son Baby Doc, ruled with brutal force. But they enjoyed US support because they were allies against the threat of communism in the Caribbean. Instead, the Duvaliers provided a climate beneficial to US corporations. That's minimal taxes, low tolerance for trade unions, and starvation wages for workers. During the dictatorship, the manufacturing industry grew in Haiti. At these factories, Haitian workers made the baseballs that players used in the Major League, and the Sesame Street stuffed animals and Disney t-shirts sold in US stores. But those workers were paid the lowest wages in the Western Hemisphere. In the face of that kind of exploitation, a priest became popular among Haitians.
À ne pas avoir pitié d'Haïti, nous n'avons pas besoin de pitié, nous. Qu'il commence à ne pas avoir pitié de nous, mais à reconnaître le droit que nous avons, droit de récupérer un peu de ce qu'ils ont volé.
Jean-Bertrand Aristide advocated for the liberation of the poor. He called for a revolution, saying things like, Haiti is poor because of the rich. And he spoke against US imperialism, saying they, the Americans, want to hold our guts always in their hands. Thus, we will be economically, politically, and culturally dependent. Aristide founded a political party called Lavalas, which means flood in Creole. He said the flood of the poor was about to descend on Haiti, and on election day, it did. When Haitians finally had a chance to vote again after decades of dictatorship, they elected Aristide as their president with 67% of the vote. When he won, poor neighborhoods all over the country erupted in celebration. There was a sense that with their vote, the poor finally had power, that their conditions were about to change.